Welcome back, everyone, to That Sounds Terrifying. This is going to be a Jess-related episode, so you are now forewarned. If you don't like Jess, then just leave. But I don't know
Leave
why you're here to
now.
begin. Yeah, I don't know why you're here to begin with anyway, because she's
She's
really.
50% of the show.
I know. Sometimes it's 75 to 85% of the show.
It's all about me, Nick.
It
It's
really
all
is. Yeah, I'm just here. I'm just here for show.
about You're the pretty face.
Yeah. Okay. Now we know we're going off on like is were you Pinocchio for Halloween? Because your nose is getting longer.
No, I was Alice in Wonderland. You were
Mm,
there.
I know. I know. I'm actually wearing the same shirt that I wore
Why is that? Are you
for
wearing the
Halloween.
silver pants?
No, no,
Oh,
no. I
fair
needed
enough.
something. I needed a quick long sleeve shirt, and this was available.
Mm,
So,
okay.
but so yeah, today, Jess went some places, had some experiences, saw some faces. I
I
don't
saw
know.
some stuff.
Saw some
Okay.
stuff, and I think that we just really want to kind of concentrate on some of those experiences today. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited to hear about them because you really told me very, very little, just that you had some experiences. So
I had to immediately text you, Nick.
yeah,
When
I
I was
know,
in Italy, I texted you.
I know,
So I'll try
I
to tell
I
this
f-
like
I feel blessed that I was thought of while you were overseas.
I
So
gotta like yeah, I all right, so I'm gonna try and tell the story like an actual story that I would be reading. Because it was very intense and strange. So my family and I went to Italy and Paris a couple weeks ago for my birthday.
happy
Um,
birthday!
Thank you. It was a special birthday, so I decided I wanted to go and I wanted to see the Eiffel Tower and I
Mm,
wanted to get to Italy because it's been on my bucket list. And there's no time like the present, right, than to
yeah.
go away. Um, and everything in Europe is just so old,
Mm,
right? Like, I mean, just so much history, so
hmm
beautiful, so just rich with culture. And I'm of Italian descent. And so going there just meant something to me. And we went to Florence, and that's not necessarily where my family is from, but I just decided to I stayed in northern Italy because I wanted to go to Paris quicker.
Yeah.
So it was a little faster there. But we flew.
hmm
But Florence, if you get to go, is utterly amazing. The food is just incredible. Incredible. Even my son, who's the world's pickiest eater, was
hmm
just he loved every pasta and pizza dish that he could get his hands on.
It's
And we've talked
awesome.
before, he's a vegetarian, so there's a lot of meat in Italy, but Florence worked for us.
Hmm
Um, and a lot of really good gelato. Oh my goodness, we had the best gelato.
Yeah.
So we took a lot of tours and everything while we were there, but we had the first day just on our own. So we decided that we would just like go for a walk and we found this church. And I'm not going to say what church it was. I'm nervous about saying it. Putting out in
Okay.
the airwaves. Just I don't know. I don't in case
Well,
they're like we're not haunted. Um
yeah. Yeah.
But as soon as we walked into this church, it was big and beautiful. It was open for tours. There were quite a few people in there. I'd say that there were probably at least by the time we got in there, like at least 100 people, like just milling around.
That
It's a
is quite a few.
huge building.
I thought you said it was a little church. That sounds
No,
big.
it's huge. It's
Okay.
very big.
It's freaking
Um,
huge.
it's little compared to the other churches that are there,
Okay.
which is insane.
True.
But it was as soon as we walked in, I heard chanting, like like monks chanting and like this beautiful music. And I was like, oh
hmm
my God, that's beautiful music. And I heard like a man singing, like I don't even know how to describe it. It was just like this chanting of like "Va Dominu," like that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And it was ancient sounding. And I
mm
looked at Evan and I was like, "Do you hear that?" And I was like, "It's beautiful." And he was like, "I hear a small hum of like people talking." And I was
hmm
like, "No. like that's like singing. There's like monks singing somewhere. Like to me, it
Hmm.
sounded like monks, like a choir singing, but it was all men. It was no
Yeah.
women's voice. It was all men's voices. And he was like, I don't, I don't hear that. I hear the din of people talking.
Hmm.
And I think in some part of me knew that it was like I was psychically hearing it instead of like hearing it, but I heard it audibly.
Right.
And then I would hear it in my mind, and then I would hear it audibly again. So I was just very confused. And like this is the first day in Italy, so I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Um, and I'm hearing it all the way through, then it stops, and um we're going all through the church, and like there's it's a lot of people are buried in the church. It's buried over the catacombs. There's just
Hmm.
a lot of bodies in there. And you don't see any, but like it's just all these memorials.
Sure.
And I stopped at this one woman's grave, and I was just it said like she was the most selfless, most wonderful, most incredible human there ever was. And she like you were just so blessed to be in her presence. She was the best. And but she was very, 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 very wealthy because
Hmm.
she had this big marble thing in
Yeah.
effigy of her, and I just to myself thought quietly, like, was she or did she just pay for them to say that? Like just one of those like dark humor sort of
Yeah.
like thinking to yourself. I kept it on the inside. I didn't say anything, but I was like, I'm just curious because I felt like she might not have been the nicest
Right.
person. She was just very
Come
vain
on,
because
Jess. The whole town put all of their money together and
yeah,
produced that
to
memorial to her. Okay.
course, this wife of, she was a mother of three and a wife and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all came together. And maybe that is true. I don't
Yeah.
know. I have no idea. But it was an inside thought.
Hmm.
But I felt like I made someone mad. So we're going around, and then we see like the there's this little window, not little, it was a pretty big window, a window of Mother Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. And Lana wanted to keep going over there and keep going over there. And she found a 5 cent piece on the floor,
Hmm.
whatever that is, the 5 pence or whatever. It's a
Yeah.
euro, so I don't know what
Yeah.
their change is called. I feel silly, but I don't know. Um,
It's a
it was a
fiver.
5 cent piece. It was
Mhm.
just nothing, in the scheme of things. But we uh made an offering with that because she was like, I want to keep it. And I was like, no. And so by the little baby Jesus, you could light a candle for baby
Hmm.
Jesus or whoever. And so I said, let's put it in the offering and then let's light a candle. She's like, okay. So we put it in, and um she just kept being drawn to the window because she liked the baby.
Hmm.
And near the baby, right around the corner, was this, you walk up these steps, and I took a picture of it because it was so crazy to look at, but it looked like a big map, right? And I took a picture of it, and I used Google Lens to see what the Latin said.
Hmm.
And it was like the road to hell. The entire map was hell
Oh,
and all
wow.
the different areas of hell.
Interesting thing to have in a church.
Yeah, and like it was scary to look at actually, like because I was so enthralled with it. I'm like, what is this? And it looked like just all these different drawings of people, suffering and all this other stuff. I'm like, this is crazy. But it had all like this Latin, and I can't remember exactly what it said, but it
Hmm.
almost was like all roads lead to hell.
Wow.
It was one of those things. I was like, oh boy.
Let me ask you a
Um,
quick question before you continue. Where was that
Sure.
monument to that lady in comparison to that thing?
over in the front of the church when you first
Okay,
walk,
so it was nowhere like near what you're talking about.
no. Um, and so yeah, that was all it was.
Okay.
She was just in the front over with marble. Like there are all these marble, like what are they called? Just memorials, I guess.
Hmm.
And there were some on the floor too. Like the floor was all like from the 1500s and 1700s. This church was from the 1500s.
Okay.
And like some of the memorials were 1500s and some were the 1700s.
Hmm.
But um she was away, but like still on the same floor, like in the same room, this
So
huge
yeah, the
room.
only reason I ask is because sometimes I've noticed like in history, like where like someone who's like uh kind of like full of themselves or whatever, they're strategically placed, right? So it's
Oh.
like this beautiful thing, and then it's like, well, all roads lead to hell, and she's the start of that road or something,
She's the start of the road. No,
right?
no,
So
yeah, no. She was right in the front, so we know she had money,
yeah,
you know. And
yeah,
she was the kindest, most selfless, most charitable, most,
in
like
in
all
the
these
whole
things. Yeah, she got every accolade.
accolade.
Um, and
Not humble though.
no, I, I, I mean, maybe she was. I think it said that she was humble too.
Mm,
And I was like, okay,
okay.
but I definitely made her mad. But so we're going through and none of this is haunting, but it was just kind of
Yeah.
like adding up in my head of like, huh, there's more to this place than I really originally thought. It's not just a church. Like
Yeah.
there's bodies here. There's a lot of ghosts. Like there's music somewhere. And then you walk outside to this back area and there's the catacombs. Like I can't remember what it's called over there. I think I texted it to you
Hmm.
over. Let me look up our text really quick because that was like it was called the cloister.
The
And the
cloister.
cloister, and I mean this place just went on forever and ever. Like I was trying to find the way out and I couldn't. Um but we were in the cloister and it's pouring rain, by the way, the entire time we were in Florence. It was pouring.
Hmm.
And so we over in the cloister, it looked like a traditional like American mausoleum, but like a little, it was more outdoor. It didn't have doors. It was just more outdoor.
Yeah.
Um, and so we were walking through, and I walked down the way of the mausoleum. It was just bodies on every side of you, like in the walls. And I stopped to read like this big, tall banner sign, right? But it was like made of glass. It was like very big and very permanent. And so I'm reading it, and the kids are over with Evan, but not too far away, but like, at I don't know, like 25 feet away. Like they
Hmm.
were off in a different like area, but still I could see them sort of thing, like if
Sure.
I were to look. And this is important. And I'm gonna read the rest of this because it was crazy. So I said, I was reading a sign and I got halfway through and I see Lana next to me on my right, which I thought was kind of strange because she looked kind of like black and brown. Like she almost looked kind of like a shadow, like dark. But I thought that was weird because she was wearing a yellow jacket because it was raining out. So she had her yellow rain jacket on. So in my head, I'm like, wow, my periphery's going because I can't see color out of my periphery anymore. Um, and I didn't think much of it, so I reached out for her hand because like when your kid's there, you reach for their hand. Just I do,
Hmm.
when your child is next to you, right? Like or a child, you have a feeling, and you're like, I know that my a kid is here.
Hmm.
So I reached my hand out for her, and I was gonna like touch her like her back because she wasn't reaching for my hand back because usually I put my hand out and she'll grab it.
Right.
So I reached to put my hand on her shoulder because I can still see her, but I'm reading. I'm still reading the sign, right? So I'm
Hmm.
not really paying attention to her, but I want to hold her hand. Um, and there's nothing there. And I look down, nothing there. Um, and I was like, oh my God, I saw a child there. Like I saw same size as Lana, like I saw a child.
Hmm.
And the only weird thing was that I couldn't see color. Like I couldn't see the yellow jacket, and I thought that was strange. But I look up and over, she's been with Evan the entire time, over with Carson and Evan over the other side. And I'm like, she wasn't even like close to me. She wasn't even there. But I know that there was a child there, and they were like a dark, shadowy figure.
Jeez.
Yeah, on my right side. And so I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is haunted." And this was like right after I had looked at a child's grave in the mausoleum. Like there was this little child's grave and I had taken a picture. And I thought that was strange, but I was like, maybe a connection or something, like maybe the kid that I took the picture of.
Hmm.
Um, and so we keep going through, and then like we went into this one hall, and it was full of drawings of skeletons, like just tons of skeletons, like really cartoony looking skeletons for the age. But it was
Yeah.
interesting. It was beautiful, but it was scary too. Like to me, it had like a darkness to it. Like it was all about death. It was death, 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 death is here, death, 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 death. And it was just that darker feeling. I didn't hear the monks anymore or anything because I was
Hmm.
outside. Nothing like that. It was just kind of okay and over. So the next morning, I get in the shower and my right calf stings. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like razor burn, like
Yeah.
I must have razor burn from yesterday, whatever.
Right.
I didn't even look. I was just like, yeah, okay. Um, and went about my day until the next morning when I was like, ow, my calf still stings. Razor burn shouldn't last this long. And I look down and on my calf, going the wrong way, a way that I could not possibly do myself, I had three long, deep scratches
Jeez.
that took 10 or 11 days to heal. I think I still even have like a little bit of it left.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I do. I can feel it.
Yeah.
And three deep scratches and the opposite way of the how I scratch my leg. There
Right.
was no way. And I was doing every which way. I'm like, how maybe I did it
Yeah.
like this, maybe I did it like that. And I'm like, that would be a weird way to scratch myself. I
Yeah.
don't think that I would do that. And also, my nails are not long. I keep my nails short. I don't like there's no way. And I would have felt that and been like, ouch, I scratched myself,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
anything. So I got scratched, Nick, and
Yeah.
I think it was that little entity, that little being.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that because like they like just kind of really embody death in that church and like really, really, really like honor it, but also call it in.
Hmm.
It kind of invokes some kind of negativity
Hmm.
that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But I think that that little entity thing scratched me. I really, really do. I didn't feel it at the time at all, but I was like, oh, that's strange. And then I was a little nervous because, three scratches is not a good sign.
Hmm.
That's that's a bad sign. You don't want, and I always say on this podcast, if you've listened, you know, I don't
Hmm.
play in those neighborhoods. I don't walk those dark paths because I don't want those interactions with those negative entities. I just don't. Um, and so I started saying like the Our Father and
Yeah.
just because my belief system stems from Christianity. My ancestors are Christian, so therefore I went back to that Christianity piece. That's my love and light. I called in Archangel Michael and I'm like, please protect me from this.
Hmm.
And the funny thing is that that church had an Archangel Michael statue and like a whole thing that like all the prayers that you can pray to Saint
Right.
Michael. And so I did Google Lens because it was all in Italian, and
Yeah.
I prayed every one of those prayers. So I was like,
Yeah.
let's just cover our
Just
bases,
check them all
love
off
and
as we
light
go.
here.
Did this
Yeah.
one? Okay, Google Lens. How about this one? Yep.
Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
very scary to me. I'm not I'm not like I wasn't like I guess I was more scared just because I didn't know if it wanted to latch on and like
Right.
stay attached. Those are hard to get rid of.
Hmm.
Um, but it didn't seem to. No other incidents happened. And we just, I tried to keep my vibration really happy and love and light after that, which is easy to do when you're on vacation, right? And then,
Right.
we went to
In Europe.
Disneyland Paris.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so that was easy to do. Um, and everything was safe. We had a really lovely trip. So nothing negative, happened after that. But yeah, I thought
Yeah.
that was very scary.
Well, thanks for sharing. And I know you have maybe some photos that you can share, right?
Yeah,
And
I
we'll,
sent you a photo. So,
yeah.
so in the mid for the listeners, in the midst of this, I sent Nick and I said I got scratched
Yeah.
by by something, and he's like,
Yeah, and it's funny because when you were leaving in our last recording, I had said, hey, Jess, bring us back a story, maybe even just sit somewhere and tell a story on video and like it's somewhere noticeable in Europe. And, I gave her an assignment while she's on vacation, and instead she goes and gets scratched. And I'm like, well, I was like, when I saw that, I think I may have written it back, and if I had, I didn't. I was definitely thinking it. I'm like, I didn't mean go and experience a story and
yeah,
get
like
hurt doing
evil.
so.
Yeah.
Like go get scratched and paranormal, hell. All
Yeah.
your roads to hell. We went to
All
Disneyland
roads
after
lead to
that.
hell.
Well,
Yeah.
we went to Disneyland Paris after that, and then of course was hell. You know, so. Um,
Yeah. It
but
was
that's crazy. That is crazy,
yeah.
Jess.
It was nuts. It was I've never experienced something like that,
Mhm.
thankfully. But I never want to experience that again because
Mhm.
I do feel like even though I didn't have it at the time and I wasn't filled with fear until I really saw those scratches and I was like,
Right.
I don't like that. I don't want to hang around. I don't want anything negative to happen. I have a whole flight to
Yeah.
go on with my children.
Oh my
It was
God.
more of like fear for my safety.
Right.
Yeah,
We already
so
have enough problems with the airlines and the air
no, and we had
controllers and yeah.
no issues at
Yeah.
all.
Good.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
all good things, but it was just a one and done where it was
Yeah.
nerve-wracking. But then, the story might continue, so I have more to share.
Yeah.
Do you want to share your story?
Well, I don't have a really like I don't have a story either. I thought, you know, there is one thing that kind of happened to me during your time away that was kind of like I wouldn't say terrifying, but kind of like, huh. So I've shared on the show multiple times about a spot on my way home that constantly gives me like the chills and eerie feeling and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to say who it was at because I haven't really talked to this person about kind of release this on the show. But what happened was I was having a conversation with someone who doesn't normally talk about any of this stuff, does not watch the show, does not listen, so couldn't possibly know anything about what I've said here. And I've never shared this. And they asked me, do you ever get a weird feeling like something bad happened here?
Oh, no way.
And it's that spot I was talking about. And I really didn't go into it too much because I didn't want to freak this person out because they're a little bit of a scaredy cat. That's why they don't listen to the show and stuff like that. But I can't be 100% sure, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to investigate a little bit more. But I think it's the exact spot I've been talking about because
Yeah.
it got brought up on a drive home, and I was the only person with that person in the car.
Yeah.
And it came and it was brought up kind of like around the same, like right in that same spot. And I had that feeling. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that person was kind of picking up on my feeling or if they're picking it up themselves. So
Hmm.
more to be shared there.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, huh, that's kind of weird. And you know, um, so yeah,
That's a
but
little
it is a little weird. So, um, how was like you were in Europe for Halloween, right?
No.
No,
Mm-mm. We
I
got
I
home
lied. You got
the
home
day
right
before
before it.
Halloween.
That's
So
right.
we didn't want to miss Halloween with our neighbors.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, what did you guys do in Europe for Halloween?
I mean,
So,
Disney in Paris was cool because it was all decorated for Halloween, but they don't go all out like Disney World where they have
hmm
like Boo to You parade and all that fun stuff.
hmm
Um, but it was cute. But yeah, no, Italy was cool. All their little shops were decorated for Halloween. Paris was decorated for Christmas,
hmm
except Disneyland, which was all Halloween stuff. But yeah, they were kind of like they skip over Halloween and they don't really do it big like the US at all.
Yes. What is this?
Hmm.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fine. Although, I don't think I did Paris right because we did not have a good meal there at all.
Mm.
Like not a single good meal. And they're supposed to be like Parisian cooking is supposed to be like the
Yeah.
best, right? We had good croissants. And
Yeah.
that was it.
Croissant.
Yeah, croissants. We had great croissants. The cheese was bad. It was very like not good.
It was
The
very
brie
bad
brie
cheese.
was fine. The brie was good, but the
Mm,
other cheese was like meh.
meh.
The pasta was overcooked. The
Did you go?
sauces were
Okay.
good.
Did you go and get a Royale with cheese at McDonald's? Is that what happened?
Did
Is that where
not.
you went in Paris?
Yeah, yeah, you
That
caught us.
is why it didn't
That's
go. But
why,
you got
because
the
we
little
could
wine
only go to
box,
McDonald's
right? The
and
little kid
Burger
wine
King.
box and the Happy Meal.
God, I wish.
Yeah.
No, but like we just didn't have a good meal in
Yeah.
Paris at all. Even at Disneyland Paris, it was God, we had the most expensive dinner and
Mm.
it was the worst dinner I've ever had. The kids'
That
pasta was like
that
disgusting
sucks.
and mushy. And my steak I had to send back. Yes, I'm one of those people, but
Mm.
like, dude, if you're spending like $75 on a steak, like you want it to be
Right.
something palatable. The potatoes tasted like they were from plastic. The steak was I ordered it medium rare and it came well done. And so I was like, I can't eat
That's
this.
terrifying.
It tasted like liquor. I know, right?
Yeah.
And this is a terrifying show.
Hmm.
And so I sent it back, and like this coming from like, Florence, where every steak was like the most amazing steak you've ever put in your mouth. It was incredible.
You ate a
And
lot
then
of steak while you were away. Okay.
oh, so good. Yes, I
So
did.
much steak.
Oh, so much steak. And it was so worth it. Like Florence knows how to do food. It was
Yeah.
the best food ever. But Paris was the worst food
Yeah.
ever. I can't like you went from the best to the worst. But yeah, and we went to the restaurant in the hotel, which was supposed to be like amazing. It was
Hmm.
so bad. It was so bad. Even the desserts tasted like they were plasticky. They were pretty, but they were yuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird. So I did send it back and I was like, I would like this to be rare. Medium rare. And he was like, this is medium. And I'm like, there's no pink, it's not medium. I was like, maybe Americans have a different standard of like,
Does-
whatever. But he was like, okay, he took it back. And then the
Okay.
manager came and was like, now cut through. And I'm like, okay, great, I will. And I cut it through and it's like it was better, but like the taste was still off. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good cut. Like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
sound like a bougie brat, but I don't know if you're spending a lot of money.
Oh,
I don't
well,
have
I
that
mean,
kind of
you're in Paris.
yeah.
Like, what the
I
hell,
I
man?
just wanted a nice dinner for the money I was spending. It was my birthday. I was like, I
Oh,
don't know. Anyways, it was fine. It was really, really fun.
yeah.
The whole trip was fun. It was just one like silly dinner of like, oh, that was a waste. I wish I didn't do that.
Wish I didn't
Oh,
eat in Paris.
yeah.
Should have gotten that Royale with cheese from Mc
Should have. I should have. I probably would have a better meal. I mean, we went to the Coco. They had a Coco burrito place, like the Mexican
Mhm.
place, and like those were good burritos, but they're all like ready made, whatever. But they were yummy. It was good
In
there.
Paris.
But yeah, like Mexican food in Paris. Yeah, that was good.
You know what, Jess? I am going to agree with your first statement. I don't think you did Paris right.
We didn't do it right.
I went and got Mexican in the
Well, there were
Paris.
no, I mean, we tried the Parisian restaurant and it
Yeah.
was not good.
What there,
We tried two
there was a
Parisian
guy
restaurants.
standing out of a gate and it had like a little cardboard sign that says Parisian restaurant.
Parisian restaurant. I mean, the
This
chocolate
way.
though. Oh, the chocolate was so good
Uh,
there. I bought a bunch of chocolate in Paris, and that
mhm,
that was amazing. I love chocolate covered orange peels,
mhm.
and like, oh, those were incredible.
Right.
Anyways, I feel like we're not talking about ghost
We're
stories
not
anymore.
talking about ghost
Sorry.
stories anymore. We're talking about terrifying
I hope you guys fast
cuisine.
forwarded through that.
So that's another episode. But
Terrifying cuisine. But
yeah,
anyways, I have another story to tell
that would be
you.
great. Let's hear it.
All right. Well, if you insist.
Nope. Well, I do.
So the other night, um, we were finally back in our house. We had some renovations done, and this was like the third night back in our house. So the kids are getting used to their rooms and everything again. And they would sleep together in the same bed for a little bit just to like get themselves like acquainted with
Hmm.
their rooms and stuff again. And this was the first night that Lana slept in her own bed and Carson was in his. And it was about 6:30 in the morning on Sunday. No, Saturday, because today's what's today?
Monday.
Monday. So yeah, it
Hmm.
was Saturday. Um, and he comes in at 6:30 in the morning and he just runs downstairs and he goes, whew, scared. Oh man, I'm scared. Oh, whew, I am scared. He's not crying
That's
like he
believable.
normally would be.
Woo! Whew.
I'm
Yeah.
scared. But he was scared. He was wide-eyed and he was red and he was like breathless, but he was like, I'm scared. And I was like, okay, like, why are you scared? Because he wasn't crying. Like, he used to come down and he'd be crying, like some bad dream or something. And so I figured he had a bad dream. But he said, I just saw a shadow in my room. And I was like, a shadow? And he said, it was peeking around the corner, Mom, and it had a top hat on. It
Ooh,
was
Hat
peeking around
Man.
the corner and had a top hat. And I was like, what? And I said, well, were you asleep? And he said, no, I was laying in my bed awake, just trying to go back to sleep because it was still dark out. And I had turned towards the wall and then I turned over towards my door. And there's like a little a jut out from his door to his bed. So it could like something can like peek around.
Sure.
And he said it peeked around and it was like blacker than black,
Hmm.
essentially. He was trying to describe it. He said it was a shadow and it was very like no face, no nothing. It was all black.
Hmm.
And I said, "Oh, okay." Um, and I said, "Well, how long was it there?" He said, "I don't know. I I hid under the covers and then when I pulled them back down, it was gone." And I didn't even want to move or run to you guys because I was afraid it was still over there. So I peeked and it was gone. So I opened my door and I ran downstairs.
Hmm.
And I was like, great. Now we got shadow people.
Yeah.
But we just had a bunch of people in our house doing a lot of work,
Hmm.
So I was like,
Yeah.
ah,
Renovations.
yeah. So I smudged the crap out of my
Yeah. So I was
house
gonna.
with
That was
Palo
actually what I was gonna
Santo.
say. Smudge
Yeah, with
the
Palo
crap
Santo. But
out of it.
I also told him how to like I was like you can't be afraid of those things because they feed on fear. Um I ascribe to the belief that shadow men um are kind of like the mosquitoes and the parasites of the universe. They don't have
Hmm.
souls, so they just feed on people. They feed on the fear, the anger, the whatever. They cause turbulence in the
Sure.
house to feed on. And so that's how what I ascribe to. And so I told him, I was like, I know that's scary when you see them because you're not expecting it, right? I said, but they are just beings of the universe and you can see them and mommy can see them because we just have a different kind of sight than some
Hmm.
people, right? Probably most people. And so I said, what you do is you point at it and you say, get out of here. I'm not afraid of you and you're not welcome and you don't come back.
Hmm.
I had him practice it a few times and he did great. And he said, I'm not afraid anymore, Mom. I'm not afraid. And if the next time I see it, I'm going to point at it and say, get out of here. I'm not afraid of you. Because
Hmm.
my first reaction is anger. Like, first, I
Right.
would be afraid because I'm shocked that there's something in my house, right? That's an invasion and a violation.
Yeah.
And then I'm angry. Like, that is how I go from fear to anger like that,
Right.
especially with my kid. So
And you
I'm
will
like,
not like her when she's angry.
no, I go like upstairs. I'm like, I will get whatever I need to get in here to get
Yeah.
you out. So I was a little nervous that we had a hanger on from Europe, but then I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, maybe it's just the Hat Man. Like, it's just one of those
Yeah.
entities that, like, those entities that are just mosquitoes. They're a parasite. They need to hang on to something in order to, feed.
Well, and you also had like the renovations. You had a whole bunch of people in your house. Maybe there was something latched on to kind of them that was hanging around going, hey, maybe I could stay here instead. But you're like, no, smudged out.
I smudged the heck out of
Yeah.
it.
But,
Um,
so yeah, I am never going to suggest that you try to find this an experience again because
because apparently your wish comes true.
yeah, didn't want you
Um,
to have such a crazy experience, but thanks for the
yeah.
content, Jess.
No, you're welcome.
I hope
Yeah,
you
it
all
was.
enjoyed that because
Me
Jess
too.
didn't.
I mean, I did and didn't. Like, I mean, I didn't enjoy it, but I guess the older I get, the less I don't want to be like cocky about it in the universe,
Mm.
but the less afraid I get, and the more I just accept that it's just how the universe is,
Well,
and
yeah.
and like my gift is getting stronger and stronger, I've realized a lot. I've
Mhm.
had more and more people asking me things. I had a friend of mine, um, their grandpa kept bothering me today, and I was trying to
Oh.
get work done, and I was like, I have to get work done, and he was like, just call her and tell her this, please. It's like, oh my God. And I know I sound nuts, but
Mhm.
I called her, and I just said, this is going to sound crazy, and you can tell me I'm crazy, but this is the message that I have for you. And she said, that was spot on. That's exactly how he talked. That was spot on.
Mhm.
And I was like, cool. Like now I can breathe. I had to keep
Mhm.
doing deep breaths too, because after I think I was like kind of releasing him.
Yeah.
This, whew, like, I feel better. Like I can like release him now and get him away from
Yeah.
me. But it was crazy. He just wanted me to give her this message and he would not leave me alone for days. And I just
Mhm.
kept thinking, like, I'm nuts. Like,
Yeah.
this is just a weird thing in my head. This is me doing this. And then I just couldn't get rid of it. And then finally I gave her that message and I've been able to focus the rest of the day. But
Mhm.
just crazy.
If I ever go, Jess, I'm just going to keep bothering you, and it's not going to be anything important. It's just going to be like, tell her, tell her, tell her,
Call
tell
your
her.
wife and be like,
Yeah, and you call up my
you're
wife,
like,
and
Lori,
he just keeps saying, stop turning the heat up so high.
you can't afford it.
You
It's
can't afford it anymore. Nick's not around. Light a freaking fire.
He's, and she's like, we're fine. I have a
Yeah,
new husband. He's
yeah,
rich.
yeah. He's rich. I don't even live there anymore. He's haunting some other person. He doesn't even recognize. So, oh man. But
But
Jess,
yeah,
like I said, didn't expect you to have two experiences sort of in a row, but I
me
appreciate you
either.
sharing these stories with our listeners. And if you have stories as a listener that you want to share with other listeners, please reach out to us at thatsoundsterrifying at gmail.com or DM
Yes.
us on Instagram or Facebook or just,
Or hunt us down, find
hunt us.
us.
Well, maybe
Be
we
like,
shouldn't say
hey,
that. We already
well,
have
not.
other things finding us. But
Yay.
yes, don't make us part of the story, but share your
Don't stalk
story.
us.
So I think it's about that time, Jess. And
It absolutely is. But I don't know if you've noticed, if you're watching, I have a ho 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 mug with little Shih Tzu on it.
I've
Um,
got a tiger.
there you go. It's a white tiger.
Yeah.
So whether it is, I think it was sip and be merry tea
Hmm.
with maybe, I don't know what you would put in your tea.
Well, you were just in Italy and France, and you should have some wine there.
I
But
had a
yes,
lot of wine. Yes, I did. I had a lot of wine and champagne.
yeah. I won't even let you close out the show. We're just dragging
Yeah.
it on. All right, I'll let you go now.
So whether it is sip and be merry tea or ghosts, keep your spirits up.